What's going on, everybody? It's Lars, your friendly neighborhood Sidewall Jedi, and welcome to String with Me number 9. Okay, just like the last one where we did an Eclipse 3, this is gonna be probably broken up into a couple of parts. I'm gonna split it up to have a top string video. Obviously, the whole video is top string, sidewalls, bottom string. I think I'm probably going to do a bottom string video simultaneously. So we'll see how this goes. But just so everyone can get a look at it, I'm actually really excited about this. We have your friendly neighborhood. Well, it's not your friendly neighborhood. It's the Torq 3. The new Gait Torq 3 that just came out. I am really excited about this. There is just... I don't know. There's just something about the Torq that it's really difficult. It's really hard to string it poorly. It just every iteration I've ever used, every Torq that I have, it's really easy and really intuitive to string them. So this is one that I got sent by Gait Lacrosse. So this one is going to end up being mine. This one, hopefully, I'll be able to get out in the field and use sometime soon for myself. So this is going to be a big old bag, Jedi Mesh, mid pocket. Not going to try to make it be too high, but definitely going to try to make this sucker deep. What will end up happening is the way that I'll end up setting this up. If anybody has any questions or if anybody follows this pattern, I'll set it up in a manner that it won't be difficult to make it legal if you try to copy it and wanted to make it legal. But for me, no, sir. Anyway, let's get after it. So I've got my Jedi Mesh. This is actually going to be a really interesting... this would be my first, this would be an interesting way to set it up. So I'm going to switch over to the top-down view. Okay, so here we go. We're going to try and do a 8-diamond top string. So as you can see, I've got my mesh here, or as you're kind of watching it, you can see it. I'm going to flip the mesh upside down like here. I'm going to fold over 2 rows of mesh. That's why it's an 9-diamond piece of mesh. I'm folding over 2 rows. And it's going to be really interesting because you're following. I'm figuring this out on the fly. I've certainly done 8-diamond top strings on a couple of these Gait heads in the past, but it's been a while because I've used 9-diamond mesh before. But this is going to be really interesting. So we've got 10 holes. Obviously, I don't know if this is the first head where I've looked at it in these 2 kind of vents or whatever you want to call them that are in the scoop. I'm sure that they're there because Gait feels like their scoop is stiff enough so that this isn't going to make any this isn't going to cause any problems. It takes a little bit of weight out. Realistically, I don't think it moves the needle as far as decreasing wind resistance so much that it noticeably can increase head speed, thereby shot speed. But so we're going to figure this sucker out as we go. Let's see how we want to do this here. I think I'm going to be using, can I stretch? I'm trying to figure out in my mind looking at the sidewall or sidewall holes here, you can see I'm trying to figure out there's first 1, 2, 3. I'm only going to use 2 or 3 of the holes here in the sidewall, but I'm trying to figure out, I think I'm going to do just sidewall, so I'm basically tying off the top string on the hole number 2 on both sides. So I'm using hole 1 and 2. So I'm outside in through 2. I'm going to do that. I'm using 275 paracord, but the holes in the Torq, as many other Gait heads you'll see, are a little bit smaller. So I'm not going to double loop start. The top string. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to lock this down here so you can hopefully see it a little bit better. So there we go. So I kind of want to just make this aesthetically look the way that I want it to. So it's sitting, mesh is sitting right up inside there. Just got to make sure everything sits down low. So with 8 diamonds across like this, it makes it very easy to do a beautiful Liberty top string with a 6-hole scoop. I did a couple of Lakota 3s earlier today. It makes it look really pretty. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's easy enough to set this up. So I'm going to use, so let's say I'm starting right here. I'm going to use 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, 10. So in the typical way that I would do my Liberty top strings, so imagine that I'm not using 2, 4, 7, and 9. Imagine I'm not using 2, 4, 7, and 9. I'm shifting the top string a little bit. So on the 8 diamond row, I'm shifting the 2 full rows up just a little bit. And so I'm going to, of these, so now that I don't have 8 holes, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So because I've kind of shifted up a little bit, I have 16 holes instead of 8. So I'm going to be going in the even ones, going in that direction. So that would be 1. So I'm down, back to front through 2, front to back through top string hole number 1. So that's 2. So back to front through 4, front to back through top string or scoop hole number 3, back to front to back through 5. So even though 5 and 6 are very close together, I think it'll end up working out looking really well. So 2, 4, 6, back to front through 8, front to back through 6, back to front through 10, front to back through 8, back to front through 12, front to back through number 10, back to front through number 14. And now we are going to go inside out through sidewall hole number 1 on this side, outside in through sidewall hole number 2, front to back through, I'm not doing so through both of those holes, as you can see, both holes right there. Just going through that once. Outside in through sidewall hole number 2. Inside out through sidewall hole number 1. I'm just going to gently, I'm not going to try to keep things too crazy tight because I got to loosen all that back up in a minute, but there we go. That is how we are going to start off with our top string. This looks like it's loose enough that I probably could have tied my 8 diamond row to sidewall hole number 3, but we're going to see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be a big issue. Now, just starting from the side that I started on over here, I'm just going to make sure I'm pulling everything as tight as I possibly can. A little bit loose now, okay, because I will end up, whoops, pulling the wrong thing. Everything is going to get tightened up here once I start pulling down everything on the sidewalls. I'm trying not to. Trying not to get in the way here as I tighten everything up. I am definitely feeling like it was a good idea to only do the single tie off once instead of twice. Okay, so now we're going back in the opposite direction. As you can see, the same thing. I am going in this direction over here. So I'm starting like in the shifted row. You see where there's 16 holes. If I start on this side and go like that, I am going in the even ones again. It's the odd going in the opposite direction, even going this way. So back to front through 2. So let's count. You know what? Just for the sake of it, from starting on this side, I'm going to go back to front through 15, front to back through 10, back to front through 13, front to back through scoop hole number 8. So was it 15, 13, back to front through 11, front to back through mesh hole number 11, front to back through scoop hole number 6, back to front through mesh hole number 9, front to back through scoop hole number 5, back to front through mesh hole number 7, front to back through scoop hole number 3, back to front through mesh hole number 5, front to back through scoop hole number 1, back to front through mesh hole number 3, and we're gonna, this might be a little tricky. So this is something, I think it's an awl. This is I think it's a knitting. It's metal, it's pointed. It's not super sharp, but it's certainly sharp enough. I will use this in certain situations to like go through, just widen out a hole just enough if I can't get strings to go through. So I am, as I said before, I am not going to have enough string to double loop finish right here, but everything is more than tight enough so that I don't think it's going to be a problem. So I will do a double knot to finish where I end up over there, keeping the knots super tight as I possibly can keep them to the plastic. And there we go. There is that would be our Liberty Top string in a 10-hole scoop. Remember, we only use 1, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 10. I use 6 holes in the scoop. So if you wanted to copy this top string with Jedi Mesh, you do a 6-hole scoop, bingo bongo. And some other day we will do I'll try using 10 holes or 8 holes or something. I'm not sure. But moving on. Okay. Scoop is done. All right, so we're gonna set this up over here. Now just please give me a moment. I want to make sure that everything, I need to zoom in. I need to change the actual, there we go. So now we'll put it back up on the big screen over there. Okay, so we have our sidewall that we're about to do. So if you could, it's tough to kind of notice. Let's see if I can take it out and show you. So the actual sidewall up here, I love that there's so many holes. Part of me wishes that they just did so many holes all the way down. If you can do this up here, in my mind, and I'm not an engineer, but if you can do this up here, why can't you just double up the holes that are down here? String King does it. It works. It's fantastic. The more holes, the merrier. I'm not upset. I think it's going to be awesome, but that's an aside. It's not necessary to have so many holes. There's more than enough holes to do anything you want. Let's just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Call it 23, 24. Call it 24 all the way down. But you can kind of see, hopefully you can see this here, like this is, it's not too thin, but it's got a nice flare to the inside. It's always, you can see it a lot more when you look at it from this view. Like right in here, there's a nice flare. It's perfectly set up for stringing to the inside and going inside to standard all the way down. Okay. So now on to the sidewall portion. So I'll show you over here. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go back to this. Is we're on still on the sidewall part, but I'm just kind of going over here so you can see it. So I went in. I used sidewall holes number 1 and number 2. I think I am going to. Let's see. I'm going to go outside in. Let me just make an aglet real quick. Really like this fire camo. So I'm going to double a single loop start through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So sidewall hole number 5. I could try and, you know what, I'm going to double loop, but I'm not going to double loop through the very same hole. So I went outside in, hole number 5, front to back through the mesh, the next 9 diamond row of mesh. And I am going to go outside in through sidewall hole number 6. So I'll just flip this and do the same thing on the other side. I've had this head for a few days now, and I'm just so excited for it. So again, I'm going outside in through sidewall hole number 5, front to back through the mesh twice. So a single loop through hole number 5, but I'll go outside in through hole number 6, effectively double loop, starting the sidewall itself. Okay. So starting on this side, so we're at number 6 here. I'm probably going to do, let's do 3 inside weaves. So I'm going to keep counting down from how many open holes. So that's 1 open hole, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go outside into the 4th hole down from where I last went through my top string. I'm going to go outside in, back up 2 holes, outside in that way. Make sure that sits nice and tight. Sits where I want it to sit. Back to front through the same way. So I'm doing inside weave. I'm going to do 3 inside weave SIs. So the next holes after I've already used it, I'm going down 3, inside out. I'm going to come back up 2, outside in. Let's see if I can set this up so it looks good. Hopefully this, you can see that right there. Back to front. Do that same hole to make the inside weave SI. That one right there. Make sure it's nice and tight. So I'm down 2, inside out, up 1, outside in. That will be, and then back to front through that same hole. So I've got 3 inside weave SIs right there. Hopefully that'll stay and that works. So I'm wondering, okay, so I'm thinking about this, and I'm going to do, I want this is for me. Like, I play right now in like a pickup men's league, but it's with the guys that I've been playing club with for 20 years. So we play on an indoor soccer field, field goalies, field nets, goalie 1-3-1. So offense and defense is 4-on-4. So there's plenty. You've got to pick. You can't. But you can, because it's a field goalie and field nets. There's outdoor dodging and outdoor shooting. So you can still, realistically, we don't shoot from the outside. So I'm not trying to shoot with power, but it's not purely box where a premium is on stick skills and inside finishing. You can still like shoot on the run and stuff like that. We obviously don't try to overpower and hurt the goalies or anything crazy like that. So even though I'm pulling down here, like I can tell already, like I could have pulled these further down to make sure that there's going to be plenty of channel, but it's not, I'm just wondering, I think I'm going to do a 1, then a 2. So I'm going to do, just knotted 1s here. So that's a knot. I went through back to front through the next hole of mesh. I'm going to do a 2 here. So it's a knot K plus 2. That's how I call it. Outside in through the knot, through the next hole. I'm not skipping any more holes in the actual sidewall itself. 1. And thankfully, I don't have to worry about this thing being illegal. So I start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Let's see what kind of a bag we can create. Let's just do 2 2s, then a 1, and then a 2 to finish it off. It's going to be a big old bag. Ugh. Oh yeah, we're using most of this piece of mesh. So the way that this is ending up is like down here at the bottom, and this is, I guess it's not a chirp. It's just I wish this bit down here, this scoop is just the tiniest bit thin, because like if I can use my fingers to manipulate the plastic a little bit more, like I am gonna. It wouldn't be terrible. If I really wanted to, I could pull a string really hard through it and I might be able to pull it through the plastic. I'm not sure. I haven't tried to pull it through the plastic. I am not about to try, but I can tell you if I go like this here, and you can look at this little bit of plastic right here, like I can pull and like I can bend that plastic a little bit. Not the end of the world. So if we start over closest to you, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going outside in through bottom string hole number 1. I'm going inside out on the very last sidewall hole there. I'm going to just pull that nice and tight. Then I'm going to repeat and do the exact same thing. I'm doing outside in through bottom string hole number 1, starting on the one side closest to you on the camera. And then inside out through here. I'm going to double knot to finish and have that sit right up there against the plastic. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through this other side. Oh, there's some really nice like checkered carbon fiber effects. I like the inside in here. It's really subtle and really cool. I am so psyched about. Whoops. Set it up. I was like I was going to do another inside SI. What I was about to say is I'm so psyched about this head. Like it's Gait is doing some really wonderful things. They are doing a lot of, they're probably pushing the boundaries more than anything else right now. Any other manufacturer, as far as like, hey, let's see how far I haven't talked to them. Like I know a number of the people there. I've met and spoken with Gary many times, and Paul as well, and a number of Bobby and Jenny who work there. It makes it, the way that they have gone about things makes me think that they're actively sitting there in like concept meetings and design meetings being like, let's see what we can get away with and really try. They're not pushing any boundaries with this head, like as far as trying to break rules. But they definitely, like, I think a lot of focus went into this head to make it be like, hey, let's make it a little bit more offensive minded. Cause the last Torq, great head, but it was like you could probably use it for anything. Like you might get the random LSM here or there that really wants to use this head, but this is an offensive head, like offensive in box. Like you get some transition players in box who would want to use this, but like I don't think you're gonna see many Torq 3s, and it's not what it was designed for either. Like the Gait D series has been so like widely popular, but this is, I'm so excited. I think this is a wonderful offensive head. Okay, so bottom string comes last. Let's see, can I make this? I'm going to try to set this up, so bear with me here. Okay, so I don't know how this is going to work. As you can see, this thing is kind of up by my face right now. We are going to change camera angles to here. So we will I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go, but I'm going to try to make a nice little bottom string tutorial. So, okay, so now we're on to our bottom string tutorial. I have a piece of string. You can see it. It's, you can see it in the little camera up in the top corner. There it is. This is maybe 18 inches. It's way too long. I always cut my strings too long. I do that on purpose. I'm going to talk through two different variations that I like doing with bottom strings. One where I'll go one sidewall hole up, and I don't think I can kind of turn it so you can see it a little bit like here. If you'll notice right there. Oh, nope, I'm looking at the wrong one. So if you can see this down here, this hole where my fingernail is going into, that is the very bottom, the very last sidewall hole. Sometimes I'll go outside in and I'll double loop this, or I guess I'll single loop it, go outside in through the next sidewall hole up from the last one that I used. And then I will go inside out through, in this case, on this side is bottom string hole number 1. So I'll go inside out through there. Now, this being a 9-diamond piece of mesh, the last sidewall hole that I went through is in the 9-diamond row. So I want to use that same row. So I've got 7 holes to play with. And let's see, let's call this number 1 and counting going across like that. So from the back to front, I'm going to go front to back. Sorry. From the front being where my hand is, right here where the ball's going to sit, to the back, which is back here that you're looking at through the camera. I'm going front to back through hole number 2, back to front through 3, front to back through 4, and back to front through 5. Okay, so I've weaved in and out of 4 holes that you can see right there. I'm going to pull the mesh up. So if this is number 1 that I just went through, the bottom string hole number 1, I'm going to go outside in through number 3, and then inside out through hole number 2. Like that. Now I'm flipping it back over. Because I have 7 holes to play with, that means the one in the middle, hole number 5, is the one I'm going to start going front to back through again. Back to front through 6, front to back through 7, back to front through 8. Now to finish, I'm going to go outside in through bottom string hole number 4, and I'm going to go inside out through, let's see if I can turn it so you can see it on this side, I hope. Can kind of see it. So I'm going to go inside out through the next sidewall hole up from the very last one. And I'm not going to pull this too tight, but you can kind of see, like there's, if I needed to pull that tighter, obviously I'm not worrying about this being legal or not, but if I needed to pull that tighter, I can do it. So I went inside out through that next up sidewall string hole and just a single loop finish. I'm going to go inside out again. Now when I pull this, when I bring this string, I'm not going over the actual sidewall string. I'm going under it, between the sidewall string and the plastic, going in between the two. And then I go inside out again. That should be all lined up. I'm going to single knot, oops, sorry. I'm going to single knot that. I don't need to have that much length, so I'm going to cut a little bit of that off. Melt the end there. Okay, so I'm going to set the head back up like it typically would. So I can, hopefully you can kind of see this. If you notice right in here, well, anyway, that was the bottom string tutorial. Hopefully you can see right in here that like the angles at which the mesh is coming off of these 5 knots in a row, they're not straight, they're not clean, they have not been pounded. This is a big indicator when you're looking at pockets and you're like, oh, I wonder if it's been pounded or not. This is a no. This is a hard no. Obviously, this area up here, this is one way that you tell. Like, this just came to me. This is going to be the how to tell if your pocket isn't pounded yet. If this is flat, there's, you can see, you can kind of follow some of the lines in here. You can see it kind of like that being just so clean and so flat. Even if I kind of push up a little bit, it's, I may end up, I'm just looking at this, probably going to end up tightening the bottom string just for a cleaner shape after I've pounded the pocket. But moving on, it's time to pound the pocket. So we come, let's see, whoopsie. Nope, I got to come back a little bit. I'm going to move my kettlebell out of the way. Okay. So you can see this right here. Sorry, I know my sweatshirt isn't wet. Oh boy, this is going to be a bag and a half. Holy moly. Well, mission is accomplished. That is way too deep, like aesthetically not pleasing too deep. first thing that I'm going to do here is I am going to drastically tighten the bottom string because this thing is way too loose down here at the bottom. And I mean, that's what I was going for. I wanted to have a big bag, but it was too big. So what do when what you wanted to happen doesn't happen the way you thought it would? You fix it. You unstring it, you loosen something, you tighten something else. So I have now reset the bottom string so that it can't really be tightened a whole lot more. Honestly, I know this is going to extend the video a little bit more than I thought, but I'm going to bump, I want the bottom string a little bit tighter than I can pull it for the horizontal row that I used. Now, usually with Jedi Mesh or any other kind of mesh, I'm going to use 10 horizontal rows down. I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I used 12. I didn't need to use 12. I don't think I'm going to use 11. I'm going to bump it up and do the bottom string through the 8 diamond row. I'm going up 1. I'm not going to redo and do a different tutorial, but hopefully you can kind of see it. I'm doing the same thing that I did before in the same pattern that I did before, but if I go up, when I say up 1 row, I'm going in this direction. I was on a 9 diamond row. I'm going up basically a half row, going through the 8 diamond row. So going through the 8 diamond row means that I'm using 8 rows, 8 holes instead of 7. That means I am not going to be going through any hole twice. Theoretically, could I, would I, should I change up the sidewall pattern? Yeah, but you don't really have to. I can just bump the bottom string up a row, not touch the sidewalls, and achieve the pocket shape and the performance that I'm looking for. So it's certainly tighter. It's not quite as tight as it was. So what am I doing now? I'm just using this, like I've said before. The back of my hand, the backs of my fingers is just about everything that I ever really need to feel how the ball is going to come out of the pocket. So this is going to come out nice and smooth. Is it too deep? Oh, good Lord. Yeah. Let's see if I can. I'm having a tough time figuring out how to make this line up well with the camera. I think you can see it right there. It's definitely too deep. It's noticeably too deep. But it's for me, and I don't play anywhere I'm going to get my stick checked anymore. Okay, so we are going to... I'm going to leave this the way that it is. If I need to go back and clean anything up, I can certainly do that. But I am not going to worry about it too much because I don't know how it throws. I don't want to change it. Like, it's got a beautiful shape. It's the kind of shape that I wanted. It's a nice mid pocket, but the ball's going to come out really easy. You can see, like, is it a tight channel? No. It's not super tight. I'm trying to make this so you can see it really well. I'm trying to get it to show you. Like, the ball's going to come out really easy. It might come out late. It'll come out certainly later than it does for a lot of players, but there's, and I hate using the word whip, but people understand, like, this is not going to be, it's going to be whippy for some people because it throws down, but it's still going to be easy. It will be very easy for a player that uses something that doesn't have as late a release as this to make a quick mechanical adjustment to have the ball come out where they want it to, because it's not difficult to use the stick. That's one of the biggest problems with sticks that are whippy, is that the sticks are difficult to use. This is not going to be difficult to use. Okay, so last but not least, we are going to, let's see here. All right, last but not least, we're going to do, I guess you could call this something of a shooter tutorial. So, like I said, please forgive the long version of this, but I'm trying to make some smaller tutorials. Hopefully they can fit into 3 minutes, because I just found out that YouTube Shorts have been extended to 3 minutes long. So it's not come a long way from Vine. Okay, so I've got one nylon ready. See if I can find. Okay, I've got one nylon and two shooters. I haven't, since the rule change with having used, like, I've never been a big fan. I probably used back then, but like, I'll say this now, and some people might think this is a hot take. You can have far more hold or add far more delay with straight shooters than you can with use. Period. Full stop. At me. Do whatever you want. Okay, so in this case, I'll turn it so you can see it a little bit here. The row here that's kind of doubled over, I'll count that as row number 1. I'm not going to put a nylon in 2, so I'm going to put a nylon here in 3. Usually I don't do it. Usually I would do it where the camera, you're looking at the camera like this, but I think doing it this way is probably a little bit easier to see. So this is, if you can see here, hole number 1. Actually, I'll do it with the strings itself. So horizontal row number 1, horizontal row number 2. I'm going to do number 3. I'm going to go through the holes in the plastic, at least for the nylon, just because it works out that it's going to look well this way. So I use 2 hands. This is another reason why I string with my stringing stand, is because I can do my shooters so much faster. I don't know why people will do one all the way down. Like, you can go through so much quicker. If you have to use one of your hands to hold on to the stick, to the head, just to string it, like, it's so horribly inefficient. There are great stringers, wonderful, great stringers out there who string effectively one-handed, and touche to you, but I don't want to know, because I don't want to think about using more energy in order to do this. So I can feel that, I'll be able to feel the ball in the nylon, but not too much. And so I'm going to go all the way around the plastic here. Same thing. My first pull, I want the shooter to sit where I want it to sit. And then, so I've got my 2 fingers, and I just kind of I cross over like this. I can't really zoom in any farther, but I will kind of cross them here, and then holding on like this, I will switch fingers and thumbs, and I've got a different, I'm trying to do this so you can see this in the thing. So I'm pulling on the opposite string that I originally had. So that way, this way I go through, and I can kind of just really quickly fly through, keeping everything. So I'm pulling just to manipulate the mesh a little bit. I'm not trying to pull. I'm just trying to pull it all the way through. So when I get here to the end, I can press out a little bit. It's not too much. It's not too tight. I'm going to do the same thing. One more row. So I only ever skip one row in between shooters, and like sometimes I'll stack and I'll put the shooter and then the adjacent row to a nylon that I just did. But something that I will almost never do. The only time I've ever done this is for when I did a number of sticks for Grant Ament back in the day when he first entered the PLL. And I think he was the first person I ever saw to do it consistently. But skipping 2 rows of mesh in between shooters, to me, is just you're not begging for trouble. It's preference, and I believe wholeheartedly that if that's the way that you want to do it, touche. If that whatever works to you, the success does not care what road you takes to its doorstep. But unless asked, I will never ever do that. I just don't like the way it looks. I think it's not. I have no evidence to support that it is less consistent, but I don't think it's going to be as consistent. Okay, so there we have it. We have a brand new Torq 3 with Jedi Mesh with a nice mid pocket. Ball's going to wants to naturally sit right there in the middle of the stick from bottom to top. It's sitting right there in the middle. The nylon and 2 shooters. If it was beautiful, and it's actually kind of nice out tomorrow, but I don't think I have enough room yet. I think there's still too much snow for me to bring out my bounce back to go try this bad boy out. But I am really excited. I really like the way this strung up. Like I've said in the past, I said at the beginning, the Torq 3 is just, it turns out that it feels just so intuitive and so nice to string. I just really like the way that this head turns out. Let's see if I can come in here and get a really nice, where's my eyes? That's the, I'm just trying to get a fun, what do you call it? Maybe I'll do it over on this side. Trying to get a fun thumbnail. So, okay, so hopefully we got a top string tutorial. Hopefully we got a bottom string tutorial. Hopefully we got a shooter tutorial. Just cutting, burning. But yeah, this actually worked out really nice. Can't wait to give like a full review later on as time passes. But thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. I finally figured out how to make it so that you can add comments down below. I just have to not mark it that this is made for children. And so questions, comments, concerns, please. Until I can figure out a better way to say this, I'm going to copy Greg and say like if you like it. Don't downvote it, but like if you like it. Adding comments is great. I really appreciate that because it's engagement and it really helps. If you're just seeing this for the first time and you like this kind of content, please give me a follow because that obviously helps too. And in the comments, 1, would you use this? But 2, like if you like this kind of stuff and you want to see something else, like I can think of plenty of things that I want to create for content wise, but if there's something in particular you want to see, let me know. Write it down there. Appreciate you guys. Have a great night. All.